to take a deep breath and relax so that we can have a bit of a chat today. As your invite might have told you, today I wanted to speak about weight management. And this is because I've got so many questions over the past months about the weight management and what products to recommend and so on. This is for anyone who has ever tried to lose weight or lost weight or has maintained a good weight. It is not an easy topic to speak about in half an hour, but I want to try my best and start by ask kind of a question and answer method. And the first thing is, why are we interested in weight management? Most of the time when we talk about weight management, we are speaking about weight loss because more people struggle to lose weight than people who are looking to gain weight. Of course, there are people who would like to gain weight. So when we speak about weight management, we are speaking about having a healthy weight. But then again, the question of healthy weight is a difficult one to pinpoint because some people just want to be very slim. They don't care whether it is the healthy weight or not. Some people want to put on weight. They don't care whether they are supposed to be lighter. So it becomes a bit of a difficult question. But remember, in Neolife, our main interest is good health. And so when we speak about weight management, we are speaking about maintaining a healthy weight and thereby maintaining a healthy body. So the reason why most of what I'm saying will probably be leaning towards maintaining a healthy weight or losing weight when we find that we have gone above the healthy weight. Also, just to mention that a healthy weight does not remain the same throughout our adult life. For example, women, our healthy weight might be a bit more as we grow older because our body needs to store fat and so on. So we can't retain the same figure we had as young people. With the gents, we may find that as we grow older, you need to gain a bit more weight because you need to retain muscle, not fat, but muscle. So the whole question of weight management, I just want to say, tends to be a bit complicated. So another thing that further complicates the question of weight is that as we put on weight or lose weight, our appearance may change. And a lot of the interest in weight is to do with appearance. Most people who are talking about weight loss or weight gain are not concerned about their health. They are concerned about their appearance. And you know, as a person, for example, someone who was with me in university or high school, when they meet me now, I look completely different. Why? Because I have put on a fair amount of weight. And if I, let's say, fell very sick and then someone meets me, they may find again I've changed because I've lost a lot of weight. So our weight tends to also affect the way we look. And when something affects the way we look, it might also affect our self-confidence because, of course, our appearance has a lot to do with the impression and the way we come across to the world. So just as an introduction, that was. But to go straight into it, as Neolife distributors, we need to understand that our company of Neolife is not in the business of trying to trick people into buying products. When we put products in the market, it's because they are going to deliver what they promise. So probably everyone on the call today is hoping I'm going to tell you this product, if you take it, you're going to get to your goal weight or your healthy weight in the next 6 months or something like that. Unfortunately, I'm sorry to disappoint you, that is not the case because, as I've said, that is the whole question is very complicated. But if you bear with me, I want to give you some information which you can use yourself and maybe share with your customers that can help in this. So the next question is, what is the best weight loss diet? I think anyone who is exposed to magazines and YouTube and all these different types of media, you know there are so many diets that promise that they are going to help us to lose weight or to manage our weight or to redistribute our fats and all this. But the truth of the matter is this: any diet, most diets, in fact, can help us to lose weight. That is not the problem. The problem is maintaining the weight once it has been lost. I think many of us have come across people who have been on a diet, they lose weight, and then some months further down the line, or a year or two, we find that they have gained the weight back. So when we think about weight loss, let us think about the fact that we don't just want to lose the weight, we want to be able to maintain the healthy weight. And that is where the diets that promise us quick weight loss or dramatic weight loss fail. We are not able to maintain the weight, the new weight that has been achieved. Also, weight gain or weight loss is very subjective. You may hear about a diet that has worked for one person and you quickly jump on it and it doesn't work for you and you wonder why and you get disappointed. And then maybe you think the person lied to you or the article was lying. But the fact of the matter is no two human beings are identical. Not even identical twins are identical. So the way in which our body is going to react to a diet that is not necessarily the same way that the person from whom we had the diet told us. Because each of us is different, our metabolism is different. So for that reason, it's good to keep in mind that it may be counterproductive to keep on chasing after this diet and that diet and the latest diet and the newest one and the one with the most beautiful model advertising it and so on. So most of the diets will help us to lose weight, but the problem is not so much losing weight. The problem is maintaining the new weight that we have achieved. Okay. Why is weight loss so important? Why is fat a problem? This is because excessive fat deposits are actually dangerous. And they are dangerous because of the association with disease. Not so much because of the way it makes us look, but the way it changes our actual workings of our body. So the most dangerous fat is the one around our waist. So if we are growing a big tummy, or if our waistline is disappearing, that is the most dangerous fat. The fat on our hips and thighs and buttocks and arms are not the most dangerous. The one that is associated with health problems is the one around our bellies and our waist. So if you want to think about your health, that is the weight to watch. If the waistline is disappearing, then our health is in danger. So for that reason, it means that even though we may like to have slimmer hips, especially for many of us African women, we tend to have broad hips and we are always frustrated trying this exercise and that, this diet and that, wanting to slim our hips. But remember that if we maintain a waistline, even with the gents, if we maintain a fairly flat belly or a flat tummy, then our health is more assured than if we maintain slim legs or slim hips, because the fat that is deposited in the middle part of our body is the one that is associated with the diabetes, the high blood pressures, the heart diseases, and all these illnesses that are associated with fatness. So if you want to think about this in terms of health, the weight to worry about, the fat to worry about is the fat that is around the belly. This is the killer fat. And as soon as we start seeing either ourselves or the ones we love, including our children or our clients, then the weight around the belly is the one we first of all need to worry about. Then the next question is, which is the most dangerous diet for our health? The most dangerous diet is the one that is associated with a high amount of processed and packaged foods, a high amount of sugar, a high amount of factory fats. When I'm speaking about factory fats, I'm speaking about the fats which are manufactured. In fact, for those of us who are older, we know that many of these fats did not exist, let us say 3-4 decades ago. But now there are very many. We know that there are some oils which are made of maize. There are some oils which are made out of cotton seeds. There are oils made out of all kinds of unbelievable things. These are the dangerous oils. So if you think about oils, like those coming out of avocado or coconut and so on, these are not the most dangerous ones when we incorporate them in our diet. The more dangerous ones are the ones which are made in a factory rather than made by fruits, because we know that there are some fruits that produce oil, like olives, coconuts, avocados, and then we have got nuts that also produce oil. These oils are not so problematic. The problematic oils are the ones which are taken out of things which normally we don't associate with having oil. So you should ask yourself, if an oil says it is made out of maize, most of us know what maize looks like. Can you imagine what you need to do to maize in order to make it produce oil? It means a lot of processing. And those are the dangerous items to have in our diet. So a diet that has got a lot of processed Western food, especially, and a lot of sugar, a lot of factory fats, and also a dangerous diet is one which has deviated very far away from our traditional foods. And I will mention that a little bit further on. Why is it important for us to stay close to our traditional foods? Most of our traditional foods are minimally processed. And because of being minimally processed, it means they contain fewer preservatives, they have no colorants, they don't have all these additives. Why is it important that we don't add these things to our bodies? These things are not food. They are added to food in order to make it change its appearance or last longer on the shelf. But when they get into our body, we don't know what they do there. Our body will react to them because they are not actually the food. Most of our traditional foods don't have that problem. And that is why when we deviate far away from it, it becomes a problem. Another thing is that our traditional foods are the ones with which our genetics have evolved. And so our bodies work with them better, and we don't get this abnormal kind of fat gain that we see nowadays. If you look around ourselves, you can see that if you compare, again, maybe the younger people might not notice this, but if you are of maybe my age group and thereabout, you will know that when we went to school, for instance, there are almost no obese children. There were no fat kids. The fat kids were maybe just plump kids. But we didn't have this serious kind of abnormal fat that is now becoming more and more common. And it's not only in the developed world, it is also now coming more and more in the developing world. So for that reason, I think we should always emphasize reincorporating our traditional foods back in our diet, so that a big part of our diet is made up of those foods. And why is that important in weight management? Because that has worked for us for all these many generations. Think about the people that you saw maybe when you were a child and you went to the village. You did not see people who were obese or overweight. Most people had a good weight. They had waistlines. They were able to move about easily. Most of these illnesses that we now have did not even exist, which means that that traditional diet was actually working for the health and even the appearance of our ancestors and our people of that time before things changed, our diets changed so much. So for that reason, that is an important recommendation for weight management, that we reincorporate the traditional foods which are minimally processed. Then how can we achieve and maintain a healthy weight? So here is, I think, the gist of what we are going to talk about this evening. And it is not a product that you will get out of the warehouse. This, let me just tell you, because I'm not here to sell you false promises, and I don't recommend you do that to your customers. The way that we are going to achieve and maintain a healthy weight is by permanently changing our unhealthy habits. So this is the first and most important thing. Towards the end, I'll speak about products that are going to help us with this. But the main thing about weight management is permanently changing our unhealthy habits and know those unhealthy habits, the weight is going to come back. That help us lose weight and continue for us to maintain weight if we stop using it. So either we are going to continue that diet until the end of our lives, or we are going to regain the weight, which means when we want to achieve and maintain a healthy weight, what we are looking at is a change in our habits. Okay, so I want us to consider some points, even though I see time is rushing away from me very fast. The first point is we have to eliminate or minimize foods which have already been clearly shown to contribute to the diseases that are associated with weight gain. We know these foods, we even know because we have this training every week, and I think every health person tells you about them. So these are, I'm not telling you something you don't already know, I'm just repeating to you what you know so that you realize that it's actually important. Number one, sugar. Thing that you can do to change the trajectory of your health is to minimize or eliminate sugar from your diet. I'm talking about refined added sugar. So the amount of sugar that is recommended for good health is 6 teaspoons per day. 6. So count how much you put in your tea during the day and then see. So sugar, we already know this is not news. We know that sugar is not on our side. It's against us. It is at the base of a lot of illnesses. And I'm not saying this even for only those who want to lose weight or change their weight. I'm saying this is for everybody. Next one is refined carbohydrates or foods made from refined carbohydrates. I'm talking about the cakes and the biscuits and all this stuff. That one already is known that it contributes to diabetes, it contributes to weight gain, it contributes to all kinds of illnesses to do with our blood and our... Next is sweetened drinks, bottled drinks, which now are everywhere. And here I'm speaking even of the fruit juices. Okay, so those ones are already well known that they have the fruit juice that you'll find today is not very different from the soda. The only difference between it and the soda is that the soda has got gas added and the fruit does not. Otherwise, the amount of sugar you are taking in is either the same or very closely the same. Okay, then the next one is junk food. Junk food are the foods which you see all over the place, which, they are very quick. You go and stand at a window, they give you a bag and you have your lunch. Or you go to the supermarket, they are already prepackaged, you put them in the basket and you have your meal. Many of the junk foods are called junk because they are food which don't have nutritional value. Some of them even take away nutrients from your body because your body has to detoxify them. Another item that has already been known to contribute to disease is a sedentary lifestyle where we spend many hours sitting. This one I think we talked about when we were talking about activity. Another one, the last one I think I'm going to mention are drugs and alcohol, tobacco, all these things. They are already proven in a laboratory that they are bad for us. So if we want to start with weight management, those are some points that we can look at, that we can already start from. And to also point that human beings are the only species who actually knowingly take something and put it in their mouth, which they have already been told and know is bad for us. How many of us have taken sugar today? I'm one. And I'm here telling you all about how bad sugar is. So we need to look and see that knowledge is only as good as how it changes our actions, okay? So how do we go about formulating a plan for weight loss? Number one is to take time to honestly identify our unhealthy habits and then formulate a plan to change those habits. It's good to not do too many things at once. So I maybe have already mentioned a number of things here which you are already thinking you want to change. But the recommendation is you do maybe 1 or 2 at a time, because remember, we want to make a permanent change. So we can't say, I'm going to stop taking sugar, I'm going to stop taking this, I'm going to stop this, I'm going to start running. No. Pick 1 or 2 habits, succeed with those ones, and then move on to the next. That is why we identify those unhealthy habits, and then we formulate a plan to replace them with good habits, 1 or 2 at a time, so that we don't get overwhelmed or discouraged. Then the time at which we eat is very important and contributes to whether or not we are going to gain unhealthy weight. So eating at night, visiting the refrigerator in the middle of the night. The worst time to eat is in the middle of the night. We are supposed to be sleeping. We have evolved to sleep during the dark hours of darkness and eat and be awake during the hours of light. So our eating should be as close as possible to the daylight hours when we are supposed to be awake. We are not nocturnal animals. It's just that with the invention of electricity, it means we stay awake about for very many hours. But our bodies did not evolve that way. So eating in the middle of the night can be very problematic if one wants to maintain a healthy weight. Eating very close to when we go to bed, I think I've mentioned this before, because if we eat and then go to bed, first of all, if we have a tendency to problem of heartburn and so on, then it worsens the problem. And then remember, when we go to bed, we are going to be inactive, which means all that food is going to be digested and turned into fat and deposited. So eating at night, we should try to eat during the daylight hours and not less than 2 hours before going to sleep. So for example, if you have your breakfast at 9, then we should look towards eating our last meal by 7 or 8 o'clock. And next day. That is why the first meal of the day is called breakfast. It means we have not been eating since. Have a snack at midnight, then breakfast is not really breakfast. It's just another meal. Then another point is to assess how much we move versus how much we sit. Again, this is something I've mentioned on several occasions. It's recommended strongly that we move 15,000 steps per day for good health. There are apps that you can have in your phone that help you to count your steps per day, and gadgets that also you can get that help you to count the steps you make per day. So if the steps are less than 15,000 per day, you need to do something, get more active. Then we should also observe why we eat. We are only supposed to eat in response to hunger, but sometimes we eat in response to emotional upset, stress, or just as a habit. We are in the habit of eating at such and such a time, so we eat whether we are hungry or not. We simply just sit down and eat. So that is another thing to assess. Once we see that our weight is getting out of hand, to eat, to consciously realize that eating should be in response to hunger. If I'm eating because I'm frustrated or angry, I'm using the wrong thing to address that problem. Okay, and then another thing to look at is snacking, that is eating between meals. Again, this is a new thing for those of us who grew up long before. We know that snacks did not exist. Can you imagine young people? There was a time snacks did not exist. Now everybody is talking about snacks. So I think once again, assess and see, are snacks necessary? Why are they necessary? Sometimes the reason we need snacks is because either our meals are not nutritious enough or we have picked up a bad habit. So assess the snacks so that you see whether you can reduce the number of snacks you have per day or eliminate them altogether and just eat during meals. And then the final point I wanted here is to speak about is cravings. I hope everybody knows what I mean by cravings. If you have a strong urge to eat something, and you keep on wanting to eat that thing, it's good to assess and see why is it that you're having that craving. Normally, there are two reasons for the craving. Either you have developed, again, a bad habit of eating something unhealthy, or there is a nutritional gap, some nutrients that are lacking. That is why you are craving something. So rather than eating the thing you are craving, find a nutritious version of it so that you get the nutrient which your body is asking for. For those of us who are women who have been pregnant, you know that if you are missing some certain nutrients, then you develop a craving for something. And once you get that nutrient, the craving goes away. So to finish off, I just want to mention the products which can help us in weight loss. As I say, the first thing we need to attend to when we are thinking about a weight loss program is to make sure that we don't interfere with the quality of our nutrition. And for that reason, the first product for weight management is ProVitality Path. The ProVitality will make sure that we get all the nutrients that we need. And in addition to ProVitality is NutriShake. NutriShake can be used to replace at least one meal in the day because it provides us with a whole food. So that if now we want to reduce the volume of food we are eating per day, we are not reducing the amount of nutrition that we are getting. Another product that is helpful is Amitone, which is a mix of amino acids, which helps us to retain muscle. The reason why we need to retain muscle is that many times I get a question, can we use for burning fat? Our body has an inbuilt thing for burning fat. It's our muscles. Our muscles are good fat burners. And so by using Amitone, we prevent ourselves from losing muscle, because sometimes what happens is that instead of losing fat, we lose muscle. And if we lose the muscle, when we regain weight, we don't regain the muscle, we regain fat instead. And so our muscles keep on decreasing, which means our bodies become poorer and poorer at burning fat. So Amitone helps very much in maintaining our musculature. And remember, if we've got a good muscle tone, then also our appearance is better. So those are some of the products that we can use. If you have in your market the Neolife tea, you can also add that. It helps to boost your energy, and it's a refreshing drink that it supports our weight loss plans. So just to recap that, we do not have a designated product that is targeted towards losing weight. What we do have is lifestyle points that we can take, the ones I've mentioned and others, that will help us to achieve and maintain a healthy weight. And at the same time, we have products to make sure that as we are changing our habits, we are maintaining our nutrition. And if we try to put this into place, especially now as we are going into the holidays, some of our bad habits will be very strong in us and the temptation of them will be high. Let us try and assess which habits are contributing to us gaining unhealthy weight. And then once we have assessed the bad habits, we work towards permanently eliminating them. Doing that will make it possible for us to maintain a good weight long term. This is better than jumping from diet to diet, losing weight and gaining it back and losing and gaining and losing and gaining until our bodies totally get out of order. So I want to leave you with that because I've already stolen quite a bit of Pascal's time. I hope that is going to be helpful for you and for your customers. And I wish you that the rest of the year is going to be excellent. Of course, we are still going to meet, God willing, next week. And if there are any questions or comments, please share them. So maybe someone has got a secret that they can share with us that we don't know yet about. And otherwise, let me hand you over to Pascal, and thank you very much for your time and your attention.
Good evening, everybody. That was really a good presentation. As you can see, I'm under lock and key in some nutritional issues. I know I really love Kenyan tea. So every time I go to Kenya, I buy several packages of Kenyan tea, but I am allowed only 2 cups of tea in this house. So I'm under close supervision. So what I want to share with you this evening are 2 things that I think are very, very important in our business, because all of us who are attending this training are distributors. There may be guests who are attending this presentation, but most of the people who are attending this presentation are distributors. And why are we distributors? Because we want to make money. I see Christine and his family. I can see the future distributors. I'm sure they're going to be future distributors like ourselves. So I want to share with you some ideas on 2 things of which are very important in our business. The first one is how to build confidence in ourselves. If you'll give me a moment, I want to share the screen. Okay. Let me put the slideshow. All right. So why is confidence very important? Remember something about our business. You are the Neolife brand. People will judge Neolife according to how they judge or see you. If you walk around unkempt, you walk around with a bad attitude, you're not polite with people, you don't have any sense of grace, that is the conclusion that people think distributors in Neolife act like. So the first thing I'd like to bring to your attention is you are the Neolife brand, and people will buy into you first before they join your business. So I would recommend that you need to think very carefully about how you carry yourself, or what image do you present about what our business is like, okay? Number 2, people will join your business when 3 things happen. Number 1, they know you. Number 2, they like you. Number 3, they trust you. Because remember that people want to do business with people they trust, okay? 2, they want to do business with people they like. Think about doing a business with somebody you really dislike. What that means to you is that every single day you think about this person, is you develop bad feelings. So remember that people will join you when they know you. Number 2, they like you and they trust you. So you need to develop the capacity for people to trust you. The third thing that I would like to talk about is personal grooming. What is personal grooming? Personal grooming is developing a certain appearance that when people see you, you look attractive. The way you dress, your voice, the way you walk, the way you conduct yourself, this may appear very simple. They may appear things that are not very important, but in my experience, these things are very, very important in attracting the right kind of people to your business, all right? When you dress well, I'm not talking about dressing expensive. No, what I'm talking about is being elegant, being smart. If you're a man, I expect that you walk around with a good pair of trousers, polished shoes. If it's a short sleeve shirt or a long sleeve shirt, you are well dressed so that people see you as attractive just from the way you look. Number 2, you need to pay attention to your voice, how you speak, how you pronounce things. I'm not saying that you need to develop a funny way of talking. What I'm saying is your voice has to be warm, your voice has to be attractive, your voice has to be clear. The way you walk, this affects your confidence level. Now, let's talk about something that is very important in our business called posture. What is posture? Posture is maintaining an attitude that people, when they speak to you, they actually say in their mind, I really want to be like this person. Or this person is talking to me about the business and he doesn't seem to care whether I join the business or not. That is what I mean by posture. Posture is an attitude of the mind that tells your prospects, without you saying it in words, that I don't care whether you join my business or not, I'm doing you a favor showing you this business. That is what we mean by posture, all right? And this posture comes from building confidence. How do you build confidence? First, I would recommend that you need to master the 7 skills of our business. And the 7 skills are how to look and know prospects. Number 2, how to invite them. Number 3, how to show the business. Number 4 is how to do a follow-up, so to close them and follow up. Number 5 is how to start new people in your business. And number 6, how to promote events. And number 7, how to inspire your team. All right? These are the 7 skills that you need to be able to succeed in our business. But from my experience, the most important skill that you need to develop in this business is prospecting, following up, and selling events. For me, for example, when Betty and I started the business, we went for the first big event in a town called Bloemfontein, which is about 500 kilometers from Pretoria. That's when the penny dropped for me. I saw 4,000 people from different backgrounds. I saw people going on stage at 2 ruby, 3 ruby, 4 ruby, diamond directors. Their income was over $10,000 a month, $15,000, $20,000 a month. I saw very simple people that were extremely successful. That changed my whole perspective of the business. And that's when Betty and I really made the decision that we're going to make this business our really full-time career. All right? So, and that was because we attended an event. So of the 7 skills of our business, the most important, I think, is prospecting, because that is really the gateway to getting a lot of people in your team. Follow-up, as I say, the fortune is in the follow-up. And number 3, selling events. You need to know how to sell events, because, you know, sometimes when you sponsor people in the business, as time goes on, they stop listening to you. If you're a leader, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But if they go to an event and somebody else says exactly the same thing, they will listen. All right? So you always need to sell the event, because people make decisions in events. The next thing that you need to have to develop confidence or posture is knowledge about the business and the products. When people speak to you, and remember that the best way to recruit people is to ask questions. But in the process of asking prospects questions, because you want to qualify them to see who are actually in need or looking for our business, they may start asking you questions. And your level of knowledge about the business will be exposed at that time that you actually understand our business. Okay? So take time to read the Getting Started document from Neolife. Take time to learn the policies and procedures. Take time to read the books, the Go Pro by Eric Warwick, one of the best books in our industry. How I rose from failure to success through selling by Frank Bettker is an excellent book on sales. Your knowledge about the business and the products will determine how confident you're going to be. And the last thing about building confidence is to develop a winner's mindset. A winner's mindset is a mindset that says, whatever challenge that is brought before me, I will deal with it. I will not think about what has happened in the past. I will not think about what may happen in the future, except to have a vision and a dream for the future. But I will deal with things as they come across. By the way, I was listening to a podcast this morning. David Goggins says one of the reasons why our minds become weak is because we bring to our minds things that have happened in the past, things that may happen in the future, combining with the things that are happening in the present, and we find ourselves overwhelmed with things. So you need to learn to live in the present. That means pay attention to what you're doing at that very moment. Forget about what has happened in the past. I know sometimes the past has a way of sneaking into our minds, but learn to concentrate on what you are doing at the moment. That gives you a winner's edge, a winner's mindset. A winner's mindset to develop, you need to read a lot of positive books. You need to listen to a lot of positive information. And the reason for this, it helps your mind to deal with negativity. Because remember, 70 or 80% of the information you receive every day is negative. That is why 77% of all illnesses are psychosomatic, which means they are a result of negative information that goes on in our minds. All right. So those are a few things I'd like you to think about how to build your confidence. Also, you need to imagine how you want to be in the next 2 to 3 years. Start mentally preparing how you want to be. If you're a distributor now, you need to start thinking like a director. How does a director think? A director is serious about the business. They show the business to people every day. They don't make excuses. If you're a director, you need to start thinking like a wild team member. What does a wild team member do? They encourage the distributors. They guide the distributors. They're always attending training. They give guidance. They give encouragement. You need to start practicing in your mind what you want to become in the future, because if you don't practice it, it will never become true. All right? So learn to develop a winner's mindset. The next thing that I remember when we started the business, and Charlie gave us a very, very good advice about building the business part-time and building the business full-time. All right? You see, our business is designed for both part-timers and full-timers. From the literature I have read, 87% of the people are part-time in the business and 13% are full-timers. What does that mean? It means that most of the people in your business are part-timers, okay? Number two, this business system is designed to accommodate both part-timers and full-timers. That is why most of our training meetings are in the evening, so that people who have still are employed pay attention to their jobs or their work, so that in the evening they can attend to presentations or they can attend to training, okay? A few things I'd like to mention about part-time effort. If you're a part-timer, you need to put aside 1 to 2 hours a day to build the business. And what do you need to do during that 1 or 2 hours? You get to do income-producing activities. And what is that? Talking to people, customers and prospects. All right? So make sure that if you're a part-timer, you put aside 1 to 2 hours to do the business. One of the most difficult things I have found from my own experience and talking to a lot of distributors is that people actually do not schedule time, or they do not block out time to speak to prospects. So if you're serious about the business, make sure in your diary or in your day, you block at least 1 to 2 hours to do the business. What do you do during this time? Talk to people. All right. The other thing I would really strongly recommend is you need to maintain a very deep respect for your current job. I know you will hear in a lot of business meetings that a job is not, we are not meant to work for others. True. That we should aim to fire our bosses and leave our jobs. True. But remember one thing, that the job you currently have is feeding your family. The job that you currently have enables you to pay bills. I know it could be frustrating. You're not getting enough money. Your boss is probably difficult, but have a very deep respect for your current job because it feeds your family. That's a very simple thing. It's called justice. Give your employer the worth of the money they're paying you, so that when you do leave, if you leave, they will know that they have lost a very, very good employee. Okay? The other thing about doing the part-time business is manage your daily activity with discipline. If you're going to be working from 8 to 5, make sure you discipline yourself so that 5 to 6 or 5 to 7, you actually do the business. Then stop doing the business, pay attention to your family, pay attention to your health, pay attention to reading so that you can grow your mind, okay? The other thing you need to do is make sure what you do is duplicable. What does that mean? It means that if you're a part-timer and you're speaking to 20 people a day, ask yourself, will the people in your team be able to speak to 20 people a day? That is what I mean by duplicable. Do things which are that can be duplicated by your team members, and that gives your business power. Okay, so ensure that what you do is duplicable in your business. That's about part-time. What about full-time? Full-timers are people who spend 6 to 7 hours a day doing the business. It could be more, it could be 8, it could be 9 hours, all right? The other thing you need to realize about full-time is you need to realize that your business is now your new employer. You need to bring the same attitude you had with the employer. You know, if you're supposed to report to your office at 8, how fast do you run to the office when you're late? You need to maintain the same habits if you're doing the business full-time. Make sure that you have a fixed time to start to do the business. 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, whatever time it is. But you need to realize that your business is now your new employer. So pay attention to it. Give it your best. Talk to people every day. But as a full-timer, you also need to remember that most of your team members are part-timers. Like we saw earlier from the literature I've read, 87% of the people are part-timers. So you need to think about that you need to manage people who are mostly part-timers. That means when you plan to help them grow their business, you need to plan to grow your business not during the work hours, but after work hours. That means you are conscious of their need to work for their bosses so that there's no clash of interest. The other thing is you need to pay tremendous attention to your personal growth, because you will always be paid according to your level of personal development. I have seen this several times in our business. If your business grows too fast and you haven't grown as a person, your income will drop. If you have grown as a person and it's not reflected in your PV will grow and it will reflect the level of personal development. Okay? And then the last thing I would like to, is just some guidance. When is it time to go full-time? A few thoughts that I would like to leave with you. You see, we join this business to gain financial freedom. We don't join this business to get into financial debt or financial stress. We join this business to gain financial freedom. So if you want to go full-time, a few things. Number one, you must be completely sold into the business, heart and soul, emotionally and mentally. You need to be completely convinced about the business. You cannot go full-time half-hearted in this business. You need to make sure that if you're going full-time, you're going all out. All right? The second thing, before you go full-time, seek the advice of an experienced upline leader, somebody who has been in the business for a long time, and two, who can give you advice that makes sense to your mind, right? Do not throw away your common sense, okay? So seek the advice of an experienced upline leader. Number three, do not elevate your lifestyle when you're going full-time. Maintain the same lifestyle you had as a part-timer, but put in more work in the business, and as you take steps, New Life will take care of your lifestyle. For example, today I received a WhatsApp message from our head office to confirm the order of our names for our trip to Czech Republic next year in April, all right? And Betty and I qualify for 100% accommodation. So we don't elevate our lifestyle, we take the steps, and the company gives us the lifestyle because we are making steps. So do not elevate your lifestyle in the business when you're going full-time. Maintain the same lifestyle until your income is actually able to afford the lifestyle that you're looking for. Number four, ensure that your New Life income is 2 to 3 times your current salary, and you're able to maintain that at least for 6 to 8 months. Don't ever go full-time when the income from New Life is less than your salary, because If you have stress at home, that stress will be communicated to all your prospects. They'll be able to see right through you that you're under stress, that you appear quite desperate. So I would suggest to you, if you're going full-time, make sure that your income is 2 to 3 times your current salary or income. Number two, you're able to maintain that for at least 6 to 8 months. That means that for this 6 to 8 month period, all your salary goes to a savings account, that you don't spend it. The money you're earning from Neolife is what you need to pay your bills, to feed your family, and all that, so that the salary you're getting goes completely to savings. Then you know the business is strong enough to support your family. And the last thing is you need to become a relationship expert and grow new leaders, groom leaders. Because remember, your people are going to work very hard when you have very good relationship with your people. When you encourage them, when they have challenges, they're the kind of person they can actually come to you and confide to you their problems. You're going to give them good advice, that you are happy. You see, Betty and I are very happy and excited when we see people in our downline actually overtake us. Okay? Betty and I have a number of presidents' team in our group, and once we were 4 Ruby directors, but our business dropped. Now it's growing back again to the same level. It's our pleasure to see people who brought in the business taking steps and overtaking us. Okay? If you want to grow a strong business, make sure the people under you grow to be better leaders than yourselves. That is a true test of your leadership. Your true test of leadership is when the people under you, the people in your team, grow bigger businesses than yourself. Then you know you've done a good job. All right? So those are the things I wanted to share with you about going full-time. If you want to go full-time, take time, think about it, speak to the person more experienced. They will give you very, very good advice on how to go full-time. 2, do not go full-time until your income from the business is 2 to 3 times your current salary, and you're able to maintain that for at least 6 to 8 months. Then you know that you can actually live on the business. But also, you need to have very, very strong work ethic, because remember, your new employer now is this business when you go full-time. So ladies and gentlemen, it's really my pleasure to share those few ideas with you. I hope they're going to help you. December is a new month which has just started. Let's finish 2020 with a bang. I know 2020 has been very challenging for everybody. Some people have been wanting to travel, but they couldn't. Some people probably have lost their friends or relatives due to COVID-19. Some people have lost jobs. But for those of you who are alive, think about it. A lot of people have passed on this year. So many tragedies have gone around the world, but you are still alive. Why? Because God hasn't finished with you. God has a special purpose for you to achieve something great for him. That is why you're still alive. So make the best use of it. So Paul, thank you very much. Team, thank you very much.